Hi everyone, this is I am Sagar Shah and I am in a new look today. You can see this is the chess based look. I am here with a very interesting position from the fourth round of the Shamkir Masters. White is Mamedyarov, the top rated Azerbaijani player, and black is David Navara, Czech number 1. So in this position, it was black's move, Navara to play. It's a drawn position, but white has to be extremely careful because this king combined with the pawn and the rook make a very deadly force. So Navara gave a check on g2, and here is my first question to you. If you were in Mamedyarov's shoes here, what would you do? Would you go to h1 or f1? Okay, I hope that you did think about this position very seriously because one move draws and the other one loses, and Mamedyarov actually got it completely wrong. He went king to h1, which is a mistake. It looks like the right move because king f1, you're sort of falling into a mating net. Okay, first thing, rook g8 makes no sense because after e7, now f2 doesn't work, you have rook e6 check and it's white who wins the game. And if you play rook to a2, then I'm just going back to g1. Now if you give me a check on a1, I play king h2, f2, and after rook f6, you can no longer make a queen because after queens you can take and e7. It is white who is in the driver's seat. So king f1 was a draw. However, Mamedyarov played king h1, and here try to take your time. Okay, take 10 minutes on your clock, but take only 10 minutes and try to play this position against a computer or against your friend with black pieces and try to find the win for black. Because these are the positions that come in your game and we mess it up always. And this is what Navara did as well. So pause the video here and find black's best move. Okay, I hope that you found the move rook to g8. It's the most natural move, but you know, when you're thinking in the game, you start to feel like, okay, if I go rook to g8, he will go e7. Then I play f2, is about to queen, but check, king f3, check, king here, and somehow the king is blocking. If you go king e2, I can give a check here. If you go king f1, you're just blocking, so I can make a queen. And if you go king d2, I can come back rook f6. It looks like a draw. Yeah, so the way to make progress would be to go to g3 here. But then I think Navara would have been a little bit afraid of rook f8. And he looked at all these lines very quickly and he said, no, this looks scary. And that's the reason why in the game, he went for the move rook to g7, which says, okay, now e7 is also off the cards. You can't play e7, and this looks so very logical. However, it turns out that after king h2 that was played in the game, f2, rook f6, king e2, king h3, you make a rook or a queen, takes, h5, king f2, king h4, king f3, and now comes the key move, pawn to h6, attacking the rook on g7, and this is what Navara, you can't say missed, but this is what is the drawback of the move rook g7. It attacks the rook and the king comes up with a tempo. Black has to agree to a half point. Rook g1, king h5, king f4, h7, and you're just one tempo too slow. King f5, king h6. You can't go king f6 now because I can queen and give a check. So you have to go rook g6 and, well, agree to a draw. That's what happened in the game. Now if you go back to this entire variation and you play here rook to g8, then you realize that king h2, we are just making the same moves for white. The difference is that h6 is not going to come with a tempo, so I can push one move king f4, and now you can't play h7 because rook h8 will simply lose the pawn. So you have to go king h5, and I have a check, king pushed back, and now rook g1 threatening a mate. And when you go king h5, king f5, there's a mate on h1 and the pawn on e6 is falling. So this is a small trick. You go back rook g8 and you get that very important tempo. The last point which I wanted to mention was that rook g8 e7 is the most human move. I was thinking, and I thought if I was white, I would have played this. And the reason why this doesn't work is because of king g3. And now the threat, if it is white's move here, black's move here, he would go rook g4 followed by rook h4 mate. And that is why if white plays rook f8, you have two ways to win. One is rook to g4 followed by rook h8, rook h4 mate. If you play rook h8, then f1 is mate. And another way to win is the very pretty move rook to h8 because now rook into h4 is a mate, and if you take this, then this would end the game. Well, these were not easy lines to calculate, especially when you are low on time. But that's the thing with rook endgames. The more you study them, the more you become well versed with such types of positions, and the better decisions you will be able to make in your games. I hope you enjoyed this, and you hopefully we'll see many more interesting games in the Shamkir Masters from Anand, Carlsen and all these top players who are playing there.